And in downtown Portland, again, here we have a really distinguished visitor to the demonstration, and I am very honored to introduce you to Benjamin Franklin.
Yes, I'm Benjamin Franklin. My inventions include the Franklin stove, lightning rods, and bifocal lenses. I founded the University of Pennsylvania, as well as America's first public hospital and public library. I helped draft the Constitution, which George Bush has referred to as just a goddamn piece of paper. I edited Thomas Jefferson's first draft of the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and I were not fundamentalist theocratic Christians. We were deists. We believe that God is reflected in reason and nature, like Voltaire. Our references to God were universalist, not dogmatic and authoritarian. We would never support the Inquisition being carried out in the name of God's today. Her name is being raped. This nation is under the tyranny of the grandson of a Nazi collaborator and financier. June 2003, Scoop magazine published translation from the Polish of the Newsweek article on Prescott Bush and the Nazis. The Bush family made a profit from the Auschwitz prisoners' slave labor. Prescott Bush, W's grandfather, had tight financial connections with the Nazis, thanks to which he multiplied the family's fortune as a banker. The dynasty's tradition continues with the present Bush administration. The Supreme Court has ruled against torture and unlawful imprisonment at Guantanamo Bay. Bush's own court determined he is a war criminal. The whole top administration, from Commander-in-Chief George W. Bush on down, is guilty of war crimes. Now, habeas corpus is being abolished. You could be taken away in the middle of the night and never be heard from again. According to uranium weapons expert Lorraine Moret and others, we are all veterans of Desert Storm, Bosnia, Afghanistan, Iraq, 2003, and the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. So-called depleted uranium weapons have poisoned the atmosphere of the planet with toxic dust. Depleted uranium is uranium-238. It is a byproduct. The weapons-grade material has been removed. More information is available on Google videos. Keywords: depleted uranium. The entire human race is in a depleted uranium draft lottery. We are all potential casualties of United States and Israeli imperialism. The worldwide rate of cancer will increase 50% in the next 20 years because of the depleted uranium's weapons already deployed. How much more death and disability will a nuclear and depleted uranium attack upon Iran bring to the human race through a poisoned atmosphere? I'm planning a uranium weapons conference in Portland after the election. In free governments, the rulers are servants and the people their superiors and sovereigns. Thomas Jefferson and I wrote in the Declaration of Independence that governments are instituted among men and women, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government. Will the people of the United States rise up to protect their own freedom, or will the people of the world fight to protect themselves from the tyranny of the United States? With mass murderers like John Negroponte as National Security Director, anything can happen here. Just go to Portland's Japanese American Memorial for a history lesson in United States internment camps. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become more corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. Do not sell your own liberty to purchase power. A frequent recurrence to fundamental principles as the Bill of Rights is absolutely necessary to preserve the blessings of liberty and keep a government free. Without freedom of thought, there can be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty without freedom of speech. Whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the freedoms of speech. Now, freedom of movement is subject to oversight by the tyrants. That was not possible in the colonies of 1776. The Real ID Act goes into effect on May 11th, 2008. The Real ID Act requires a national identification card and allows the Department of Homeland Security to require that the ID cards contain a computer microchip. The microchip will interface with the global positioning system. Your location can and will be constantly monitored by Homeland Security, just like the livestock we will become. You will be required to carry the national identification cards at all times. That was a requirement in Nazi Germany and Stalinist Soviet Union. The Real ID Act is an intermediate step to a forced computer implant. You can learn more at freedomtofascism.com. I was an abolitionist when opposition to slavery was considered a mental illness. It may sound insane now, but the Real ID Act will revive the institution of slavery in one generation. It is a common observation here that our cause is the cause of all humanity, and that we are fighting for their liberty and defending our own. When the people of the United States accept microchip implants, the rest of the world will follow. I hope that all humanity will at length, as they call themselves reasonable creatures, have reason and sense enough to settle their differences without cutting throats. For in my opinion, there never was a good war or a bad peace. I wish I had thought of nonviolent revolution before that fellow Gandhi did. I should have had that idea. There have been 16 nonviolent revolutions since India expelled the British Empire in 1948. Those revolutions range from complete overthrow of fascist economic systems, like Stalinism, to merely the ouster and replacement of a corrupt administration like ours. Nonviolent direct actions coordinated with legal action will get the desired results. That worked for women's suffragists and the civil rights movement. We cannot expect politicians to obey our will without demonstrations and direct action. Thank you for being here today. Let us make this the beginning of the end of the Bush dynasty. We are the only ones who can stop Jeb Bush from seizing power in 2008. House Resolution 24 was submitted last year to repeal the 22nd Amendment. Without the 22nd Amendment, a president can serve unlimited terms. History is full of examples where people who had right on their side fought against tremendous odds and were victorious. History is also full of examples of people passively waiting to wait it out, only to get swallowed up by a horror beyond which they imagined. We cannot sacrifice our liberty to obtain a little temporary safety. We will lose both our liberty and safety. We must all hang together, or surely we will all hang separately. Man will either be ultimately governed by God or by tyrants. Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God.
Okay, we are very honoured to have you here today, Benjamin.
Okay.
With that wonderful speech.
Thank you.
And we've seen a wonderful example here today of the peaceful revolution, people fighting for their freedom. And would you like to tell us your real name?
Sure. My real name is Russ Hallberg, and I live here in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, brilliant. Well done.
Were you caught up in the group up there?